Welcome to Retire with Freedom, the show that helps you plan the retirement that you want. I'm your co-host, Tad Hill, along with my wonderful and talented wife, Toni. Toni, we've got a great show today. We're going to talk about potential retirement catastrophes, things that could go wrong, and really some cautionary tales of things that we've seen people do that we want to help other people avoid. We're going to talk about a message for good savers, so people that are doing a great job of saving money, but maybe some things that they could do more effectively. We'll talk about something personal. We'll have a segment on that. And then we've also, in today's Freedom Factor, we're going to talk about, are taxes on sale? And if they are, what should you do about it? So let's jump right in. Let's talk about potential retirement catastrophes. You know, one of the ones that comes to my mind is that people are taking out way too large of a percentage of their savings every year, and they aren't aware of that.
Yeah, they don't realize. So the thing about it is, whatever you're spending, you should know what that is and be aware of it. Don't run from it, don't hide from it. But a lot of folks aren't even aware of what that is. They have a vague idea. You know, they add up their bills, they have some kind of budget they work through, but budgets are kind of like diets. We don't always stay on them. So It's very important that we go through the process that we take all of our folks through so that they know exactly what's going out the door, how much it is. We can then start determining and making ideas about, is this something we're going to continue? Will this go away? Maybe we paid a house off or we did something, but we really do need to start with what is exactly going out the door every year, the last 12 months, and then year by year by year, so that we can get people on track and then keep them on track, because that's the first math. Our target is, what is going out the door? What are we spending? What is our lifestyle? And is that okay? And do we need to make adjustments from that?
Well, and so I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second, but one of the things that I want to encourage you, our viewer, to do is to take action and call or text the number on the screen and get signed up either for our next course, where we actually do a deep dive into how to figure all this out. Because what you just talked about was our lifestyle analysis. So we do a deep dive on how to do that. You also can come see us in person in our office or do a Zoom meeting. We do Zoom, and it works beautifully over that. But what we will do for you is an actual stress test of where you stand now. What are the things going well, and what are the things that need to be fixed or adjusted? And so we can do that either face-to-face over Zoom, or I encourage people to also come to our course. So call or text the number on the screen. But Toni, one thing that I wanted to point out about knowing how much you're spending is, I know you've had a couple of situations recently where people were spending much higher of a percentage every year than they could afford to, and they had someone they were working with, a broker that was managing their money, and this had been going on for years, and nobody had ever alerted them to the fact that you're pulling out a percentage that is unsustainable.
Yeah, and particularly if sometimes it's unsustainable while people are still working.
Right.
You know, some things are happening that we need to kind of get, fixed and taken care of. But once you turn the paychecks off and those habits and those patterns are happening, it gets nasty in a hurry, and it really can. So knowing what's really happening is super important so that we can build everything else around that.
Well, and so to give people hope, even no matter what's going on, as long as we get in front of it and we build a plan. I mean, I rarely have we seen a situation where we couldn't build a plan that's going to work.
Exactly.
I think that the challenge for people is they don't know what to think about or how to think about it. And one of those is being overexposed to the market. We've had talking about potential retirement catastrophes. I can't count the number of times that people have had too much of their money at too much risk, and they don't really understand the need to lay down a foundation of income, because we're getting our bills paid by our salary, but once we stop working, we've got to use our savings to augment, like our Social Security, maybe our pension, and we have to have income producing strategies. And unfortunately, what we see most of is people have growth strategies that they're using for income.
Right.
And we talk about this concept when we talk about our fiscal house, which we talk about some on the TV show, we talk some on our radio show, but we go in depth on how to build your retirement fiscal house in the retirement course that we teach. It's a 2.5 hour deep dive. And so I really encourage you, if you want to understand how do I figure out what percentage is sustainable, what do we do to generate income once the paychecks stop? What are the ways to do that with the most certainty? And then how do we do those things but still have plenty of growth opportunity for when the markets are doing well? And there are a handful of strategies to do this, all of which we go through in detail. Whether we sit down in person or over Zoom or you come to the course, I would encourage you to take action and we can show you how to do those things. So call or text the number on the screen, come see us, come to the course, and stay tuned because we've got a great segment coming up next, a message for good savers.
What does your retirement look like? Is it filled with travel, time with grandchildren, uninterrupted rounds at the golf course?
We sit down with people just like you every day and help you plan the retirement of your dreams.
Our experience tells us that you've got some very important questions about retirement. What happens when my paychecks stop? How do I replace my income as securely as possible? What's the best way to protect my savings and investments so that they last as long as I live? Is my family going to be okay when I'm gone? We can show you how to answer these questions for you and your family. It all starts with our complimentary review.
Tad and Toni Hill and the team at Freedom Financial Group will develop a custom plan for you that fits your needs and meets your personal goals and helps ensure that you don't outlive your income in retirement.
The best retirement plan starts with a phone call.
We've helped hundreds of families in Birmingham protect their retirement. We're here to take care of you. Give us a call.
Call 205-988-0006 today to schedule a visit in our office on Valleydale Road.
Welcome back to Retire with Freedom, the show that helps you plan the retirement that you want. I'm your co-host, Tad Hill, along with my talented wife, Toni. And so, Toni, let's talk about a message to good savers.
Okay.
Because really, if you think about the folks that we end up meeting with, it's people that have spent less than they made, saved the difference, they've got a nest egg built up for retirement, and so that's the heavy lifting. Mm-hmm. So go through a couple of things that you think are important for them to be thinking about.
Yeah, quickly, I see like two kinds. If you're naturally gifted at saving, there's two kinds of savers. You've either got a whole lot of cash because you've saved it, you like to see that it's there, you don't want it to be at risk, you want to keep it safe, it makes you feel secure and comfortable. But a lot of times there's so much cash there that we're not getting any leverage on it. And a lot of people don't understand that there is a way to keep your money safer without taking all that risk and still earn something on it other than just CDs or something at the bank.
There definitely are. I'm sorry. You said if you're gifted at saving. I'm like, do we have to be gifted or just disciplined?
Well, I'm just trying to be nice about that. So the other thing is
if you've got a natural gift for it, right?
Yes.
Right.
And so the other thing is the other side of that is some people then are more risk takers, and so they are saving money, but they want to take a lot of risk with it. They want to grow it as fast as they can. And that's great. There's nothing wrong with that. But as we get closer to retirement, we have to be super mindful about what game we're in. Do we have too much cash and it's too much lazy money and we're getting nowhere fast or slower, I guess?
Right.
Or we may really get hurt badly at the very worst time ever, right before or right after retirement, and lose a lot of money because we're not taking the appropriate amount of risk with the right accounts and those kinds of things.
Yeah, and so my suggestion would be for you, our viewers, is to come to our retirement course or to come sit down with us, because we go deep into what do you do if you've got too much cash? How do you even figure out if you've got too much risk? Most people have no idea if we go through a financial crisis how much you will be down. We actually have a report that we will run that shows you for your investments how much downside risk do you have. We talk about all of this in the retirement course that we have, as well as when we sit down personally and do a stress test for you. So I would take action, call or text the number on the screen, come to our retirement course. Well, I will do a deep dive into how to address these things, or come sit down with us in person. So
yeah, the other thing I was going to say, the other biggie is the tax time bomb. We always talk about it. Yeah. Talk about the tax time bomb and what's going on there and get us started on that.
Well, and I'm going to talk about this in the Freedom Factor that's coming up. But the laws are set to set to sunset in 2026. And so it may not feel like taxes are low right now, Toni, but they are. And historically, they're in one of the lowest periods they've ever been. But they are slated to go back up. And so, and the Congress doesn't have to do anything. All they have to do is nothing, and the taxes are going to be going up.
That's right.
So we're going to talk in the Freedom Factor about some strategies that we can employ using things like Roth conversions to be able to liberate some of your more tax hostile dollars. But the tax time bomb is the idea that when the laws changed in 2017, they had a sunset provision, which is going to be 2026. So right now taxes are lower, they're going to be higher, and so are there ways to help mitigate that? And one of the other things that's happened recently is the required minimum distribution age has changed. And what that means is when you hit a certain age, you are required to start pulling money out of your tax deferred accounts in the form of RMDs, required minimum distributions. So Toni, take people through what the required minimum distribution age is, because once you hit this age, depending on your birthday, you have to start pulling money out and paying tax on the money.
Yeah, so they've complicated this even more. The IRS has complicated this a lot more because there's a lot of different factors in this now. It used to be 70 and a half. You know, when you turned 70 and a half, you started taking a certain percentage out. But now I'm going to read this because there are multiple ages now. So the required minimum distribution age is still 70 and a half if you were born before July 1st, 1949. All right, now here's all the different changes now. So it's 72, the age is 72, if you were born between July 1st, 1949 and December 31st, 1950. There's a little short one there. All right, they've got another one on top of that. It's 73 age if you were born between June 1st, 1951 and December 31st, 1959. And the last one, currently, they're going to add to this, I'm sure, it'll be 75 will be your required minimum distribution age if you're born on or before January 1st, 1960. So if this seems complicated, it is.
On or after 1960.
On or after, yeah. On or after. Did I say before?
Yeah, it's all right.
On or after. So this is complicated. You need help. You need to figure this out because you got to get this right.
That's the point. The point is this is complicated.
Yeah.
All of this, these are the things that we guide our families that we're responsible for. These are the things that we guide you through. All of this complicated stuff, things change. How do we keep up with it? How do we create the right plan for you? So I really encourage you to call or text the number on the screen, get signed up for our next course where we will walk through how to figure all of this out, or come see us in person, in which case we will sit down with you personally and do a free analysis of your current situation for your retirement. But the point is, it is complicated. Take action, get help from some specialists who've done this hundreds and hundreds of times and know how to help take care of you. We will be right back with our Freedom Factor, where we will talk about what to do about the fact that taxes are on sale.
What does your retirement look like? Is it filled with travel, time with grandchildren, uninterrupted rounds at the golf course?
We sit down with people just like you every day and help you plan the retirement of your dreams.
Our experience tells us that you've got some very important questions about retirement. What happens when my paychecks stop? How do I replace my income as securely as possible? What's the best way to protect my savings and investments so that they last as long as I live? Is my family going to be okay when I'm gone? We can show you how to answer these questions for you and your family. It all starts with our complimentary review.
Tad and Toni Hill and the team at Freedom Financial Group will develop a custom plan for you that fits your needs and meets your personal goals and helps ensure that you don't outlive your income in retirement.
The best retirement plan starts with a phone call.
We've helped hundreds of families in Birmingham protect their retirement. We're here to take care of you. Give us a call.
Call 205-988-0006 today to schedule a visit in our office on Valleydale Road.
Welcome to today's Freedom Factor. Before we dive into the details today, I want to make sure that we're remembering that everything that we do needs to follow a process. And the process is designed so that we can end up with the best result possible for you, your family, and your retirement. So our 5-step Retire with Freedom process starts with step number 1, which is get a picture of what you want. What do you want your retirement to look like? We need to make sure that we're understanding how you want to spend your time, energy, and resources in retirement. Then we stress test what you're doing now, which tells us two very important things. One is, what are the things that are going well, all of the things working in your favor, and then the things that need to be fixed or addressed. Then we design the plan, which happens collaboratively between us and you guys. Once we agree on the design that's the best for y'all, then we build the plan. And then the most important step of all is step number 5, we guide you moving forward. Because no matter how good the plan is that we create now, you're going to live in retirement probably for 20 or 30 years. There are going to be questions that need to be answered, issues that are going to come up that need to be navigated. And that's one of the most important things that we do for the families that we take care of, is to guide you through all of this. So today we're going to jump into the design phase. And we're talking about taxes. One of the things we talked about earlier were taxes. So, are taxes on sale right now? Well, let's look at it. On the left are our current tax rates. On the right are the tax rates that are going to go into effect in 2026. So if we see after the 10% tax bracket right now, it's going 12 to 22 to 24 to 32. After 10% in 2026, it's going 15, 25, 28, 33, and 35. So taxes are going up, and all Congress has to do is nothing. They don't have to pass a law. They don't have to do anything. The tax laws in place now are going to sunset. So what do we do about this? Well, let's look at how your money gets taxed. So the first bucket are taxable accounts. That is cash, CDs, individual accounts, joint accounts. And the way those work is, that's money that you've already paid tax on, that you had left over, and you invested it, and now you're going to owe tax when you make money. So whether you have capital gains or interest or dividends, you owe tax on those things. The next bucket is our tax deferred bucket, and this is by far most people's largest bucket in terms of how their money is going to be taxed. And these are things like 401ks, IRAs, 403bs if you're a teacher, anything where you have saved the money pre-tax. So you never paid tax on the money, and it's growing tax deferred, which is great. But when you start taking the money out, you're going to get taxed at your highest marginal tax rate. So it's actually, when we start spending the money, it's the most tax hostile thing we can have. The third bucket is tax-free accounts. The main thing here are Roth IRAs. So what is a Roth IRA? A Roth IRA is a type of IRA where you pay you pay tax on the front end, but then all of your gains, returns, interest grow tax-free. You don't owe tax on anything else. So the reason the middle bucket is the largest is because for the vast majority of you, that's where most, if not all, of your savings are. So what is the opportunity available to us since taxes are on sale? Well, the opportunity is that we can potentially do some tax smoothing with a strategy called a Roth conversion, which is taking money out of the tax deferred bucket and moving it into the tax-free bucket. And so you might ask, well, why wouldn't I do that with all of it? Well, you can, but we don't have to do it all at once. We can do it a little bit at a time. And the key here to understand is that when you move money from the tax deferred bucket to the tax-free bucket, you're going to pay tax on the money. And so sometimes that is a deterrent for people, but here's all you've got to ask yourself. Are taxes going to go up in the future? And we just showed you that they definitely are. And we've got an opportunity to get some of your tax deferred money out of that most tax hostile of buckets, which is the tax deferred account, and into the tax-free Roth. And we do it by doing Roth conversions with the goal of ending up with your tax buckets being more equal. We've liberated some of that tax deferred money and gotten it into the tax-free account. So what should you do next? Well, I would recommend that you take action, and there's really two things that you can do. One is to come to our retirement course, where we will dive much deeper into this topic. We will also go through things like income planning, investment planning, legacy planning, healthcare planning, and we do one of those at the Hoover Library and one at Jeff State near our office in Inverness. So you can call or text the number, get on the roster for the next course, or come see us and we will sit down with you personally and help you analyze where you stand, help you do that stress test to identify what's going well and then what opportunities are available to you, potentially like the Roth conversion that we're talking about here today. But my strong recommendation is to do yourself and your family a favor, take action, call or text the number on the screen, either come see us, come to the course, or do both.
What does your retirement look like? Is it filled with travel, time with grandchildren, uninterrupted rounds at the golf course?
We sit down with people just like you every day and help you plan the retirement of your dreams.
Our experience tells us that you've got some very important questions about retirement. What happens when my paychecks stop? How do I replace my income as securely as possible? What's the best way to protect my savings and investments so that they last as long as I live? Is my family going to be okay when I'm gone? We can show you how to answer these questions for you and your family. It all starts with our complimentary review.
Tad and Toni Hill and the team at Freedom Financial Group will develop a custom plan for you that fits your needs and meets your personal goals and helps ensure that you don't outlive your income in retirement.
The best retirement plan starts with a phone call.
We've helped hundreds of families in Birmingham protect their retirement. We're here to take care of you. Give us a call.
Call 205-988-0006 today to schedule a visit in our office on Valleydale Road.
Welcome back to Retire with Freedom, the show that helps you plan the retirement that you want. I'm your co-host Tad Hill, along with my wife Toni. Toni, let's jump in. We're going to talk about retirement planning with sitcom quotes. So we can't say who the quote is from for copyright reasons, but there's some quotes that we've found that we think dovetail pretty nicely into some of the things that we see as it relates to retirement planning. So, what, you want me to read the first quote?
No, I got this one. This
All
was
right,
fun
go
for
for
me.
it.
Wikipedia is the best thing ever. Anyone in the world can write anything they want about any subject, so you know that you're getting the best possible information.
Well,
Love that one.
And I would put Google in there. I would put
Right.
Google in there
Just
along
Google it.
with Wikipedia,
Right.
because if you Google retirement planning, it's going to be more confusing than it is enlightening.
Yeah.
You know, there are instruments to help generate income and that sort of thing, like fixed annuities. You can Google that, and it is almost impossible to get any sort of measured, objective response about what's going on there. A lot of things that are happening in the markets are sensationalized. So it's not just Google and Wikipedia, it's TV shows and radio shows and
then
all of
are
these.
there agendas? You know, are they trying to sell one thing and so they're against something else, and so they make that the bad news for everything? And we don't like fear tactics anyway. But a lot of times when people are looking things up, I think more than anything, when you're Googling things or you're Wikipedia and whatever, you're looking for confirmation more than information. You're not
That's
just
a good
out there
point.
looking for objective information, which is hard to discern, which is what's what.
What's
and
objective
also,
and
once
what's
you
not,
find
yeah.
information, is that information I need, or is that for somebody else, or do I need a little of it? Do I need to look at my options and opportunities instead of just this one thing, or just do something that somebody else is doing? But a lot of times people are
Your
just
neighbor, your coworker.
right. But people are looking to be confirmed on, I already think something, I've already heard it like this, so I'm going to go out there and Google it and see if I'm right. Yes, I'm right. You know, because you can find the answer to whatever you're looking for by the way you ask the question too.
Well, and we say this a lot. We talk about this on this show, our radio show. We talk about it in the course that we teach. But unless you're a retirement planner as your vocation, your retirement's the first one you've ever planned, right? So we have to ask ourselves, how good are we at things the first time we do it?
Yeah.
Usually we're making mistakes. We don't know all the questions to ask. We're not sure of all the answers to the questions. And not only that, but it's important that we get it right, and we only get one chance to do it.
Right.
So we're not very good at things the first time we do them. It's really important that we get this retirement planning thing right, and we only get one chance to plan it. And so what are people to do? And so I would suggest that you take action for yourself and your family. Call or text the number on the screen and do one of a couple of things. come to our retirement course where we will actually do a deep dive into how to do all these things, how to set them up, how to think through them, and not just one way to do it, but 3 or 4 different ways to skin that cat. Or schedule a time to either visit with us on Zoom or in person in our office in Inverness. But either way, take action so that you can start the process of answering these pretty complicated questions.
Yeah.
How do you make sure your money's going to last? What do you do if you're taking too much risk? Is there a way to reduce it and still be able to get the returns that you need, the income you need? All of those things are things that we've helped hundreds of families figure out.
Yeah. Okay, Ted, now it's time for us to do our something personal segment.
Have a little fun?
Yeah, have a little fun. Okay,
All right.
so here's my question.
Okay.
What's the best thing you can cook? Well, let me go first.
Yeah. So you asked the question, but now you
Let me go first.
All right, you go first.
Because mine's short. I think maybe it's Italian or maybe Southern stuff, but when the kids are sick or anything, they always want shepherd's pie, which is the simplest thing in the whole world to make, but they just want basic
Especially
stuff.
Peyton, our oldest.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
like her, got to have shepherd's pie.
But I also have a history in the family of always burn the bread. Y'all always give, because you're making so many things at once, and then you stick the rolls in the oven or whatever, and the next thing you know, you don't know they're in there until you smell something. So where there's smoke, there's my bread.
Well, my complaint is always that if you're warming stuff up, you don't warm it up long enough.
Oh, there's
so you burn the bread and you don't warm things up long enough.
That's true.
So here's mine. So Shannon, our youngest daughter, makes fun of me because I'm the only person she knows who can have a hamburger that is burnt and raw at the same time.
Burn on the outside and raw in the middle. That's because you put frozen hamburgers on the grill.
Well, my brother-in-law said it was okay to do that, which is kind of like don't let your brother-in-law do your retirement planning, So,
exactly. There you go.
So this is a good example of not letting other people tell you how to do stuff.
So this is probably a bad question because maybe we can't cook anything very well. Our kids are still alive.
Yes, do not come to our house for dinner.
We'll just order in or something.
All right. Well, this has been a good show. It's been a fun show. Hopefully you found it to be helpful. I really encourage you to take action. Call or text the number on the screen. Come to our retirement course. Come sit down with us where we will do a free analysis for you. But our entire intent for all of you is to help you figure out all of the things that you need to be doing to protect yourself and your family so that you can have the retirement that you want.